Hey everyone, and welcome back to the last video in my Steps to Freelancing series. So far in this series, we've talked about planning out your journey, then we talked about creating your first gigs, and then doing your first order. But today we're going to talk about the last piece of the puzzle, which is promoting your gigs. So if you haven't watched the other videos in this series, I do recommend watching those first, but if you're all ready to go and want to know how to get some orders in the door, I'm going to share with you the 5 best ways I know to promote your gigs, so stick around. So the first tip I have is to promote yourself on social media or Reddit. So Reddit and Facebook both have a lot of groups for people that do artistic things like podcast editing or creating music or, things like that. So you can go on there and just make a post offering your services. If it's podcast editing, say, I will edit your podcast. And I would also offer a discount for first time customers to bring them in the door, especially as you get going. It's a good way to get people looking at your gigs and ordering from you. But you don't want to always self promote, especially if these groups don't allow things like that. So if they don't allow that, don't do it. It looks tacky, but there's still other things you can do. So if somebody is looking for tips on editing podcasts because they're just getting started, create a reply helping them out with their question, but then also say something like, hey, I offer podcast editing. If you want to save yourself some time, feel free to order from me and I'll give you 20% off your first order, something like that. So this is a good way to get people to look at you and coming over to you for help. Tip number 2 is to reach out to people that you like. If there's a small musician that you like or, a little podcast, reach out to them and see if they need help because you never know. Obviously, you don't want to do this for bigger names, but if it's, a niche podcast, email them and say, hey, have you ever thought about having somebody else edit your podcast for you? I offer this service. And just see what they say. It isn't ever going to hurt to ask. This doesn't necessarily have to do with audio, but there's a YouTuber I watch, and she said she used to edit her videos by herself. And then one day she got an email from someone who said, hey, I'm a video editor. If you ever need somebody to edit your videos, I'm here to help. And she ended up hiring him, and now he edits all her videos. So you never know who needs help and who's looking to take some work off their plate. Just ask, and if they don't need help right now, maybe they will in the future, or maybe they'll give your name to a friend they know who does need help. Tip number 3 is to offer discounts for returning customers or for referrals. In the last video, I did share that sometimes you have to give first-time customers a discount to nudge them to actually place an order with you. And that's good, you do have to do that. But I also think it's important to reward people for coming back for a second order. Oftentimes, customers will come back and order again from you automatically just because they already know you, but sometimes they will decide to go look for somebody else just in case they can find something that sounds better to them. So I think that rewarding people for coming back by offering returning customers a discount on their second order goes a long way, because if they come back for a second order, it helps to ingrain a pattern in them where they just automatically come back to you. And after 2 orders, you guys should have kind of a relationship formed through chatting with each other and delivering hopefully high quality work to them that will just retain them in the future past their second order. And along with that, it doesn't hurt to offer them a discount if they refer anybody to you. So when you're delivering their first order, just say something like, hey, I really appreciate your business. If you ever come back to me for a second order, here's 20% off or whatever you want to offer. And then say, if you know anybody else that's looking for somebody that needs my services, give them the 20% off discount too, and I will be glad to help them. It goes a long way to creating a good relationship and bringing not just one returning customer in, but potentially another new customer as well. Tip number 4 is to offer some sort of free incentive to people that order from you. So this is something that you can create just once and offer on every future order to new customers. So say you're offering podcast editing, you can write up a little guide on how to get high quality recordings without high quality equipment, something like that that'll help out new podcasters. Or for musicians, if you mix music for them, you can offer a step-by-step guide on how to advertise your music once they're releasing it. This goes a long way to just creating goodwill between you and customers and giving them a little something that they're not going to get from other freelancers. It can be hard to stand out from the crowd, but this is just one more way to get people to leave with a good feeling of you and hopefully to return again in the future. And then the last tip I have for you is to make connections with other artists. So these should generally be people that don't do the same type of work that you do, but are connected in some way. So, say you offer music mixing and you go to a cover artist and ask them if you can promote each other. So, maybe when you're mixing somebody's music, you can say, "Hey, I know this great cover artist, and if you want to go over there, she's giving you a 10% discount on your first order." And they can do the same for you. So, whenever either of you get an order, you can refer people to the other person and lead work that way. And the good thing about this is that the more artists you meet and the more artists you work with, the more you will be promoted yourself. So you might get work coming in from 5 or 6 different artists that are, recommending you to people, and that can really help. It's something that can really start creating a snowball pretty quickly where a lot of orders start coming in. And it's just great to have these relationships with other artists because you never know what opportunities will come your way just by knowing people. It's probably the best thing to do in this industry is to just meet people and make connections. All right, so that's it. That's the 5 best ways I've found to promote your gigs and get some orders coming in. I really hope this entire series helped. And if you want more videos, I'll be making them pretty regularly here. So if you have any questions or videos you want to see in the future, let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to read them and reply to them as soon as I can. Please, it would help me out if you would like this video and then subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. So thanks for watching and I hope to see you again.